Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 409. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hi, hello.
How's it going?
It's all right.
All right, cool. This week on the show, we'll be reviewing Riders of Justice, which is out now on VOD platforms. And we'll also be going over someone watching on the watch list and going over this week's new releases in theaters, VOD and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please remember to review us on iTunes if you get a moment. That would be super helpful. Just a reminder, the new Saved by the 90s will be dropping this week. Not exactly sure what day yet. I'm looking at maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'll make an announcement on Twitter and Facebook and all of that when it's ready to drop. With that, I think we can dive straight into our review. Again, we're talking about Riders of Justice. This is directed by Anders Thomas Jensen. I have a synopsis here. Marcus, who has to go home to his teenage daughter, Matilda, when his wife dies in a tragic train accident. That's the end of the sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like an accident until a mathematics geek, who was also a fellow passenger on the train, and his two colleagues show up. This stars Mads Mikkelsen, and it's a bit of a mashup, really. It's got a lot of genres in here. It's got some dark comedy to it, but there's also some action, some drama in there. A little bit of everything. Little sprinkle of everything in there.
Got it all.
Kevin, we'll start with you. What were your initial impressions of Riders of Justice?
I didn't know anything about this movie. You suggested Riders of Justice, and I said, sure, let's do it. Sounds good. Mads Mikkelsen. I enjoy him. And I was a little bit thrown off at the beginning and through much of it, because like you said, there's a little bit of everything in here. And I couldn't quite pin down like the tone of this or what it was going for. Because from the outset, it kind of just feels like a lot of the movies that we've seen in recent years, like You're Nobodies,
Taken,
all these,
revenge, revenge thrillers,
the dad that gets to beat people up, dad fantasy to the extreme with Mads Mikkelsen. And I mean, that was I was kind of like, all right, whatever. This is fine. This is fine. But I actually like how this kind of subverted it and kind of like got to kind of like the heart of like why this genre is fucked up, with them having to like deal with, doing
the
therapy
grief and the
yeah.
It's way more like introspective than any of those other ones, where the other ones it's like, you killed my wife / daughter / dog / whatever, I'm gonna get you, you ruined me, now I'm gonna ruin you, and it most of the time that's fine. By the way, like I like the John Wick movies, I like all those revenge movies. I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that, but I agree what you're saying, where there's a big piece missing in all of those movies, and it's sort of the mental anguish that is like constantly bombarding the protagonist in these movies, and they never really explore that. Like they might show a scene in one of these movies where it's like, oh, it shows him like breaking down in the shower or something, where it's like, oh, it's getting to him. But this movie, I think the focal point of this movie is sort of that grief and that struggle and, going through this loss, this profound loss, not just for Mads Mikkelsen either. Everybody in this movie is struggling in their own, with their own shit. And I appreciated that as well.
It worked really, really well for me in the sense that, because you remember when we talked about Nobody, and I kind of pointed out, or, kind of threw out there that, that movie kind of felt like America in a way. And it was like, should I be into this? and for some reason, like I am, like it doesn't matter how much like I try to evolve, like those movies just still work for me. And there's always that little bit in the back of my head where it's like, man, you should have moved on from this by now, Kevin. But I haven't. And I like how this movie you have the three like geeky guys who are like the statistics and the hackers. They're the ones like kind of laying it out like, hey, I don't think this was an accident. I think this was an assassination thing. And that's what gets Mads Mikkelsen on his revenge course. Now, Mads Mikkelsen he's playing it like you're John Wick. Who knew that I would be saying this in 2021? You're Bob Odenkirk from Nobody. He's just going straight on. He's like, okay, these are the guys. They're a biker gang. I'm killing all of them. And I like how the three guys, like they're kind of into it because, the police aren't helping. And they're sure of it that this is something more. And they're kind of getting involved. They don't really have a lot of friends. And they're kind of swept up in it. This whole like Mads Mikkelsen being this like super soldier military guy who can just take people out. And, they want to do the same thing. But when that stuff actually happens, seeing their faces where they're like, this is fucked up. Like, what the fuck did we get ourselves into?
He's actually killing people. Like, it all seemed, it was like this sort of just nebulous theory. This is like nebulous concept to them. Like, it was all just numbers to them. Like, it was just, nothing was real until they actually saw it happen. And then they're just like, okay, this is more than just like statistics and probability and numbers and looking at screens and all of that. Like, he literally just took someone's life right in front of my eyes. And then it gets real for them.
Yeah. So I like how that kind of undercut what was going on with Mikkelsen's character, where he's, just the macho, indestructible super soldier taking down an entire gang. And then these guys and everyone else is just like, oh, fucking hell. This is not good. Like, what did we unleash? We untapped something and we need to put it back because we can't have this guy doing what he's doing.
Especially because it was like a list of like 20 some people. It was like 22 people.
Yeah. and they're just thinking, okay, you're going to take out the top guy, right? And Nicholson's like, nah. Just like, no, we're going to kill everyone. We're going to get them all. And they're like, fuck.
I think the one sort of caveat is that there isn't that much action going on in here, comparing this to something like, Taken or John Wick or any of those other ones. I think that the drama elements of it sort of provide a counterbalance to the action, and there's actually not too much action in this at all. There's like two sort of bigger scenes and then a couple minor things, but for the most part, the action is kept to a minimum. So I guess when you see the trailer for this, there's a sort of an expectation set where you think that it's going to be more like a John Wick and just have some like dark comedy aspects of it to it. And that's really not what happens. So I think that there's just certain expectations you need to have going into this, that it is more of a drama than anything.
Yeah, no, and I think they set it up that way because of the subversion aspects of this, where it kind of comes down more to like male friendship and trying to help each other,
right?
Through grief and loss, and essentially a lot of these guys like making huge mistakes that have like wrecked their lives,
and then like supporting each other and all of that, and then you also have this father-daughter dynamic with Mads Mikkelsen trying to take care of his teenage daughter, who just sees him and sees like the amount of pain that he's suffering and just wants him to get the help that he needs, but of course he's refusing it. And I don't think that he realizes that by joining up with these three dudes that that will provide the therapy that that he needs. Everybody's learning from everybody. Life lessons.
Oh yeah, life lessons all over the place, just everywhere.
I think my favorite was Nicholas Bro's character as
Yes, he's the best. He's the absolute standout.
Eamon Taylor, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I thought that he was by far the best character. The thing about Mads, like Mads is great. He's great in everything he's in, but just the inherent design of this character of Marcus, he's, that kind of like soft-spoken, stoic, man of few words type of character. So often he would take a back seat to some of these more like jovial, more outspoken, animated characters in the three guys that he hooks up with and teams up with. And the biggest one being Nicholas Bro's character, who is a never-ending source of entertainment in this movie. He's so good. He's so funny.
He is. But again, that's another thing with his character where he's been pushed around his entire life, and now he's kind of like he's getting hooked on this masculine juice that Mads Mikkelsen's given off, and like he wants that, and he wants to get revenge too, and he wants to be a badass. He's making deals for weapons training, and he's kind of a natural putting together the weaponry. But like when it comes down to it, he can't. It gets realistic where he can't fucking do it, and he can't.
Yeah, he, as much as he wants revenge on all of those who like wronged him throughout his life, he realizes that he's not a killer.
He's not built like that. He's not someone that's been, gone through rigorous training where they kind of like desensitize you.
Yeah.
And just take away your humanity. Like he can't do that.
I really liked how it ended too. I was concerned. I'm not going to give anything away, but I was concerned with one part because there's a particularly crazy thing that happens, and then I was just like, oh no, and then like the actual end, and I was just like, yes, that is so great. And I also love every time he gets worked up, and Otto does that like back massage thing to calm him down. It's so great. I thought that this was really funny. Like I said, the comedy, it's not like, I wouldn't call this movie a comedy, but the number of little like one-liners and jokes and quips and things, I think they keep everything sort of fresh and light, even though, a lot of times this movie does take some pretty serious turns. There's a really great scene between the characters of Otto and Marcus when the two of them are sort of hashing out, like they're getting real with each other, and I thought it was it's a really sad scene, but I thought that the conversation was like really good and probably one of the most powerful moments of the film.
No, and I like the way that he shot that, where Mikkelsen gives that sharp retort, and the camera just lingers on Otto.
Yeah,
and it just stays there and stays there and stays there until he finally starts crying.
Yeah, what a great scene. The director, Anders Thomas Jensen, this is the first movie of his that I've seen. I remember when Men and Chicken came out, which also stars Mads. I wanted to see that, but I didn't get around to it. Did you see that one?
No, but this makes me want to see it big time because it's more of a pretty more heavily leaning comedy, and Nicholas Bro's in that one as well.
Yeah,
and I just I need more Nicholas Bro.
And the guy who played Otto, Nikolaj Lee Koss, I guess probably, he's in it too. So, and it looks really bizarre. So I remember wanting to see it when it came out because it looked like, that was like Mads in a really goofy role, and that's not something you see too often, him just being in the straight up goofball comedy,
which I wish there was more of that, because I think he does excel at that.
I think so. I think he does a good job of playing the straight man in a comedy as well. Like I think that he has a good ability to like play off of other people's wit. But anyway, yeah, this director pretty much all of his feature films starred Mads Mikkelsen. So he did like Flickering Lights, The Green Butchers, Adam's Apples. All of those starred Mads, and then Men and Chicken, and then this latest one, Riders of Justice. I don't. I enjoyed it overall. Nothing about it like really wowed me, but I think it's worth a look.
Yeah, and I think I really like this coming on relatively the heels of watching Nobody. Because Nobody had me kind of like questioning this genre and kind of like why I was into it. And like it always seems to work. And then this kind of goes into that a little bit. Enough that I was like, you know what, this is kind of what I was looking for. I didn't know I was looking for it. But now that it's here, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that someone's finally like adding a different...
It's like a deconstruction of that genre.
Yeah, and they're kind of adding that wrinkle into it.
I also liked, for whatever reason, I just like the whole crew aspect of it. Any movie that involves a team, a team up where each person has their own like specific skill that they're like really good at, and like I liked the whole idea behind how this started, where you have this guy who is this like statistician or mathematician, I guess, and he gets fired and he ends up on the train, and it plays around a lot with like coincidence and stuff like that, and it breaks all of that down and how he figured out that there was just no way that this was an accident, that this had to be, an assassination, and like where it goes from there. I liked all of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Anytime you get a crew together. And I would have been perfectly fine with them just being like doing their crew stuff, not murdering an entire biker gang. Just them in the barn. I love the fixation on the barn too. That's such a great
the proportions of the barn compared to the house.
I love it. It's such a great encapsulation of like the weird thing about men. To just be like, God damn, can we talk in the barn? Like, we gotta show this guy the barn. Because this barn is fucking incredible.
It was a good barn. I mean, it was so
like,
big.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, when they showed the barn, like the inside of the barn and then the outside of the barn, and its relationship to the rest of the property, you're just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, how did you get that?
It was like Matt Binko's garage that his stepdad built.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It's like
yes. Oh, yeah.
Massive. It's like he lives in this little house in Tallistown, and then you go behind his house, and there's this utterly massive, ridiculous multi-level garage.
And it's just like and there's not a lot of room back there.
No.
But somehow he was able to fit that. It might be the tallest building in Dallastown.
It was. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget being so blown away at the size of it and just like wondering, like, why? Why does this exist? Why is this here?
That was the thing that I don't think I've ever gotten an answer to.
What was the point of it?
Yeah,
he was never in there.
No.
I think I hung out in there more than he did.
I think I was in there once. It felt like one of those things where it's like you're never allowed in there.
I remember we would hang out there and listen to DMX, and I just remember listening to DMX in that garage. Oh, I'm just gonna give it to you.
The tiniest fucking yard.
Yeah. Yep. I remember I had that like little
massive.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, that was like a total inside joke that I'll completely cut out, but
no, you can't. You got to keep the Matt Binko. Because that too, for listeners, we grew up with a guy named Binko.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
Fucking kidding me? You thought Rakestraw was a unique name. I don't think I've ever seen another person with the name Binko.
No, me neither. All right, let's go ahead and give Riders of Justice a score. I'm sitting at like a 7.5 on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like 6.5, 7.
All right, there you have it. This is out now on VOD platforms, so check it out. All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. Kevin, I believe you are up first this week.
Ooh, am I? Well, pretty easy. Easy enough. I didn't watch anything else at all. No movies.
All right. Well,
I'm in that rut again where I can't do it. There's been several days, several nights where I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie, and you sit down and you do that ritual of trying to find one. And after about 15 minutes, I'm just like, well, fuck it, it's time to go to bed.
yeah, I think the trick is that you need to know what you want to watch, like going into it. Like you have to have your watch list and just pick something off of there.
And I think that's the thing, is that my mind is still like really fucked up from all of this, where like I don't know. Like I have no idea what I want.
No, I feel you. I have weeks like that too. Like I've recently been starting to watch more stuff, but yeah, it's definitely different. Well, at any rate, after we got done recording last week, I went to the movies and saw Army of the Dead. Now, anybody can see this movie. It's on Netflix now. So this is the new Zack Snyder one. It's a action zombie movie. It features Dave Bautista and a really great crew of people. It's sort of like a heist movie in a way. It's I would compare it to like Aliens, like the movie Aliens meets a heist movie, where Dave Bautista and his crew go into Las Vegas, which has been quarantined, and it's overrun with zombies, and they are setting out to steal money out of a vault, and they're going to be getting like, I don't know what it was, like $55 million or $100 million or some a ridiculous number. And, it has its moments. There are certainly fun moments in this. I think Dave Bautista is great. I think that Dave Bautista is the best wrestler turned actor that we have. I think he's better than The Rock. I think he's incredible. Like, I want Dave Bautista in everything.
I thoroughly enjoy him. Like, he's such a welcoming presence to me. Like, there's like a warmth.
I agree. I 100% agree. And you feel that, like you feel that kind of radiating warmth off of this movie, even though he's like this like badass soldier dude. He's just awesome in it. And I think it's almost worth it just to see him kick a lot of zombie ass. The other highlight is Tig Notaro, who I'm sure a lot of you already know that originally that role was going to be played by Chris D'Elia, or however the fuck you say his name. And then that whole big thing came out about him, and they redid that entire role with Tig Notaro. So they reshot everything and then basically stitched in Tig Notaro. And holy cow, is this movie better for it. She is incredible. She's so funny, and you can't tell at all that it's been like stitched together. Like it all feels incredibly natural. Like I knew, like, so it was sort of one of those like subconscious things where I was kind of like looking for it as I was watching the movie, and I couldn't tell at all. So they did a really good job with that. And the rest of it is very average. It's ridiculously long. It's 148 minutes long, so it's over 2.5 hours. Maybe that's not as big of a deal if you're watching it at home on Netflix, but in a theater, I was just feeling that length. And it's just there's some things are so over explained and bloated that you're just like, why does this exist? And then there are some things, especially with what happens at the end, that you're like, what about this? Like, where's this person? Like, what happened here? And there's like big plot holes that come up. So it's, at the end of the day, it's not very good. It's entertaining for the most part, but I can't really recommend it, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I kind of want to watch this, but I think that runtime is just like.
I mean, the cool thing about watching it on Netflix is you can break it up if you want. You know, you don't have to do it all in one shot.
But I have a feeling like that if it doesn't hook me enough, which I have a feeling it's probably not going to, the first time that I stop it, I'm not going to come back to
I
it.
think that I don't know if it will hook you or not, but I will say that I think that the good stuff is towards the beginning. I think that it definitely, at least for me, my interest level fell off as it progressed.
Is the good stuff getting the team together?
Yes,
'Cause
exactly.
it's always getting the team together.
The good stuff is 100% getting the team together, because there is a lot of that, and there's like a big preamble that kind of sets up the world where you do see, like, you see the team in action back, during the outbreak and stuff. So you get to see some fun stuff. It's, I don't know, it's all right.
Yeah.
All right. I saw Seance. This is the new one directed by Simon Barrett, who you probably know mainly as a writer. He wrote The Guest, and he wrote You're Next. He's a big Adam Wingard collaborator. In fact, most of Wingard's movies Simon Barrett wrote. This is his directorial debut, and it's pretty average. It's got some fun elements to it, but at the end of the day, it is a fairly banal slasher / supernatural movie. Suki Waterhouse stars in it, and she's great as always. She plays a really strong lead, and she kicks some ass. So I was happy to see that. But overall, it's fairly average, I would say. I saw Threads from 1984. This is directed by Mick Jackson.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a Shudder.
I want to see this.
This is it's an incredible film. It's a TV movie, actually, but it is maybe the most horrifying movie on Shudder, because it's shot like a documentary, but it's about what would happen if the UK was involved in a nuclear war, basically. So the premise is the US and Russia go to war, and they both launch nukes at each other. And because the UK is sort of stuck in the middle, a whole bunch of bombs end up just falling on England. And it just follows these separate people as they try to survive after this nuclear fallout. And it is it's rough, man. It is it's so brutal. It tries to be very realistic, I think. And although I haven't done, a ton of research about what it would look like and what would happen to the people, it seems fairly accurate to me. And it's just horrible. Just absolutely horrendous what happens to these people. So I recommend it. It's a good movie. It definitely needs a remaster. The quality is very bad. Somebody needs to fix this up. I don't know if they have the original negatives somewhere or what, but it definitely needs a remaster. But it's still worth a look. And again, it's on Shudder, so you can check it out on there. The last one I'll mention is also one that's on Shudder. This is called Time Lapse. Came out in 2014. It's directed by Bradley King. I don't know why I watched this. I was just kind of in the mood for like a sci-fi type thing.
It's funny because as you're saying that, I just pulled it up and I see the poster, and my first immediate question in my mind is, why the fuck did you watch this?
Well, to be clear, I don't think I saw the poster.
If you saw the poster,
no, I don't think that I would watch it if I saw the poster. At any rate, whatever, I saw it. I watched the fucking movie. It's about these three friends who they're sort of like what do you call it? Not caretakers. I guess you could say caretakers of this like apartment complex. And like groundskeepers, like maintenance workers, like they basically fix things up, handyman. Anyway, they discover that one of the tenants has died under some very mysterious causes, but he left behind this giant camera device in his apartment that they figured out actually takes pictures 24 hours in advance. So basically what it does is like every day at a specific time, it'll snap a photo. So naturally what they do is they, put the winners of like a dog race in the window because the camera is pointed towards their apartment where they live. And, they start making money and they start doing all this stuff, and it kind of escalates from there, and it turns into, a bad situation, and, there's a whole like greed and jealousy and betrayal and violence and blah, blah, blah. And it's all pretty standard time travel stuff. Kind of a cool concept. Not sure it needed an entire feature length movie. And then I think the big problem is like the three main characters were just the actions that they took were illogical, and they didn't seem like friends at all. Like the things that they did to each other, like I just don't believe that friends, and two of them were dating, like long-term boyfriend and girlfriend. I just don't think that they would do that to each other, like in real life. So I don't know. It's not very good. I would skip it probably. It started off kind of cool, but it didn't stick the landing. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. That's right. Bringing it back. It's happening.
Watch out.
Gonna start adding theaters to this. It's gonna be a slow trickle at first, and then it's gonna be a giant pour. They're gonna start just pouring out.
Fucking deluge.
I know it. At any rate, the only one is A Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah, which is, I think this is for a lot of people. This was the movie that like me and my wife were planning to go to.
Yeah. This
and
is
then
the
everything
one.
shut down.
Yeah.
So it's odd that, that this is going to be like usher in the return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember that I think that this was the first one that they were like, yeah, we're not going to release this in theaters. And then they just took it off the calendar. I remember because I think they pushed it back by like a month or something. And then very quickly like, thereafter, they were like, oh yeah, no, this is like way more serious than we expected. So
yeah. I love how everyone was just like pushing things back like a month. Like, oh, we'll just get over this peak real quick. This initial peak of the coronavirus.
Yeah, little could we have all known it was gonna be a year plus long struggle. Oh God, what a nightmare! At any rate, I'm excited to see this. I mean, the excitement has certainly died down over the last almost year and a half, but I think that it still looks like it's going to be a good time in the theater. So
yeah. This looks like one of those things it's going to end up doing really well, I think.
Oh yeah,
just because I think it's enough to get people out, and everything's starting to look relatively good.
Yeah, and it's a theater movie too. Like it, I saw Spiral last week, and Army of the Dead, and those, while I think that they are enhanced in a theater environment, I don't think that they're like, you gotta see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
All right, on VOD this week, we have Vampires Are Real. This is a high school. There's an image that they have here, and I'm pretty sure it's like a stock image that. Anyway, only a vampire can save their friendship. It's a coming of age thing. It looks pretty bad. We got Ghost Lab coming out on the 26th. This is on Netflix. A research experiment about the afterlife goes awry when Gla and Wee, two medical doctor buddies, see a ghost with their own eyes for the first time. We have Baggio, the Divine Ponytail, is coming out on Netflix also. It's about
The Divine Ponytail.
The Divine Ponytail is a chronicle of the 22-year career of soccer star Roberto Baggio, including his difficult debut as a player and his deep rifts with some of his coaches. And there you are. On the 27th, we have Blue Miracle. That's also going to be on Netflix. On the 28th, we have American Trader, The Trial of Axis Sally. It's a World War II drama, courtroom drama with Al Pacino.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Yeah. We also have Funhouse. This is a horror movie. And we have Welcome Matt. This is a romantic comedy from the looks of it. We have Doggone Trouble. That's going to be on Netflix. It's an animated movie. And then Swimming Out Till the Sea Turns Blue.
Oh, yeah.
This is from the director of Ash is the Purest White, which I know that you are big ups on that one.
Oh, boy.
This is a documentary, however.
But with him, is it? He likes to blur those lines.
Blur them up.
Hybrids.
Who knows? Who knows what's going on? The world is a gray area.
That's right.
On Blu-ray this week, we got Django plus Texas Adios, which is going to be on Arrow. It's like a double pack. Got the final countdown from 1980 coming out on 4K. That's a Blue Underground. Yeah. We have Explorers from 1985. That's going to be a collector's edition coming out on Shout Factory. Got Smile from 1975. The Saint from 1997. Man, remember The Saint? Val Kilmer?
Man, I fucking loved that movie.
So did I.
So much.
So did I, but I kind of forgot all about it. I'm going to have to revisit The Saint. Nightmare Alley from 1947. A Night at the Roxbury from 1998.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you listen to last month's Saved by the 90s, we talk about Night at the Roxbury. Got Super 8 coming out on 4K. Got City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold from 1994. That's coming out on Shout Factory also. I love what Shout... I really like the Shout Factory, the Shout Selects series. I think that they pick really good ones. Like they're the one they did like the Burbs and Wizard, and they got a really good lineup there. I think they did Little Monsters too. Can't remember. Got The Birds coming out on 4K. Got The Last Castle from 2001. The Hand from 1981. The Tuxedo from 2002. That's the Jackie Chan one. Psycho is coming out on 4K. Looks like several Hitchcock movies. Terror Express from 1980. Psycho. It's also coming out. 12 Monkeys. Love After Death from 1968. That's going to be an AGFA release. Revenge of the Bushido Blade from 1980. That looks like it could be a... No, actually, I don't know who's putting this out. It says Dark Force Entertainment. Not sure who that is. Get Rich or Die Trying, starring Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Chaos Walking from this year, I guess. What is this? Chaos Walking? Sounds familiar. Honky Tonk Freeway from 1981. Don't Look Now from 1973. It's getting a new Blu-ray release. Definitely recommend that one. Some classic Donald Sutherland. Deliver Us from Evil. There's a ton. What is going on here? Heavy Trip from 2018. Happily from earlier this year. That seems to be all the big ones. What about Criterion's?
You already mentioned it. That's Nightmare Alley from 1947. Getting a Criterion, which I don't remember this being announced, but reading up on this bad boy, I want to see this real bad. Traveling Carnival, right? That already has my interest piqued, and it's described as one of the most haunting and perverse film noirs of 1940. Come on now.
Oh, yeah, sign me up.
Sign me up, man.
Sign me up.
But I also want to come back to Revenge of the Bushido Blade, because it's also called The Last Reunion, and it's currently on Tubi. You can watch it on Tubi. This has Philip Baker Hall in it, and it sounds pretty damn good. Psycho soldiers killed his parents. Now he's martial arts trained, master of the blade, and ready to pay them back. So apparently these American soldiers come back to have a reunion, and this guy decides to kill all of them 33 years later.
Huh. Interesting.
Sounds pretty damn good. Did Philip Baker Hall in there back in 1980? Count me in.
Yeah.
Tubi got it.
Check it out. I just watched something recently on Tubi. What was it? There's something for Saved by the 90s I watched on Tubi. And it wasn't an awful experience. Was it? Oh, you know what it was? It was Deep Blue Sea. That's what I watched.
Tubi, got it all.
Yeah. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @filmpulsenet and @filmpulsekevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That would be extremely helpful. For Kevin Show, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.